Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Business, organized by JCI European Senate. I'm Filipe Carrera.
And my name is Robbert van Waart.
Okay, the Dutch guy.
Yes.
Today we have as our guest Byron. And sorry, but your surname is always my difficult thing to say. I will try. Soulopoulos. I tried.
It's very good, Filipe.
Oh, thank you very much. You're so kind. I think you are too kind. He's a founder and CEO at EngineerX. He's building a community of top mechanical, material, electrical, and aerospace engineers to work on the most challenging and suitable projects for large industrial organizations. Byron is also passionate about electrical vehicles, that I have heard always. As co-founder and president of Tesla Owners Club Belgium and EV Belgium, he contributes to the acceleration of a world transition to sustainable energy, and we need that. He joined JCI back in 2005, so like Robbert and I, he's also a kind of old guy as us.
41.
In his spare time, he enjoys the fantastic food creations of the world's best chef restaurants. So, Byron, welcome. And tell us a little bit about your electrical passion, why you are so electrical.
Thank you, Filipe and Robbert, for this opportunity and the invitation. So where did it start? I think it started with an article on Engadget, where I read that a guy who wasn't known very much in 2011, his name was Elon Musk.
Oh yeah, that guy. I have heard some stuff about him.
Some people know him now, but at that time nobody knew.
He's from Lower South Africa, I think.
Exactly, South Africans. He understands Dutch, by the way. So he was coming out with the second Tesla, which was a Tesla Model S. And you could order this car online. So I thought, you know what? Ordering a car online is going to be 100% electric. This is going to be the future. It's like ordering a pizza online, just a bit more expensive. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do that. So I ordered the Tesla online. And in 2012, I just happened to be in San Francisco, not far from Fremont, California, where Tesla has the factory. So I said, you know what? I ordered this car, but it has not been delivered yet. Let's take a taxi and let's take a picture of the outside of that factory, because that's where the car is going to be made. So some people don't understand why you're going to take.
It's a kind of maternity for cars, basically.
Exactly. I mean, people don't understand why you're going to take a picture of a factory where a car is going to be made. But for me, it was like the birth of the car is going to be there. So a lot of coincidences happened that day. I arrive at the factory. There are 3 small red tents in front of the factory, and there is a sign saying event. I didn't know there was an event, but I said, you know what? I put my my JCI casket on, and I dare to go bold. So I walk to these tents and I say, hey, my name is Byron. I just flew 14 hours from Belgium, and I'm here for the event.
Crash party.
Why not? I mean, what's the worst they could say? So they look up my name on the list and they say, I'm sorry, but your name is not on the list. And I say, that's unacceptable. I need to talk to a manager right now. I mean, I've just been flying 14 hours. Now, Tesla was a small company at the time. So I think it was the vice president of marketing or communication.
At that time, the stock would be like $1 or $2.
Actually, it was $34. I don't know exactly because I bought the next day.
If you buy it at that point, you would be really, really, really rich now.
I'm a happy person. So long story short, they apologized that my name was not on the list. It happened to be the first test drives of the Tesla Model S for the founders, the first investors also in Tesla. They gave me a backstage pass. I had the opportunity to test drive the car. They even interviewed me afterwards for a TV show that I even wasn't aware of. And I, after the first 150 meters, with that acceleration of an electric car, I knew that the world was not going to be the same anymore. And that's what clicked for me to go full electric and start promoting electric cars all over the world, but especially here in Belgium.
Yeah. So that's a thing that you cannot do with maternities. You don't go there and you're invited and do a test drive of a kid. Well, I say, oh, let's see how it works like this. No, so you did well. You did well. So Robbert, what are your questions about electricity? Do you know what electricity is?
I know, and I know what a passion for cars is as well. I have had the same opportunity going to the Saab. You know Saab, or in Dutch we say Saab.
Saab, yeah.
The Swiss brand with the
Swiss or Swedish?
It's Swedish, yeah, it's
yes.
Swedish. So it deceased in 2011 when you were in the factory in Tesla. It was the last cars came off the track in Sweden. So I understand that feeling. And but what I find very interesting is there are many car new brands or new innovations. It's a bit of luck on one hand to be there. I think, like you said, like coincidence. But how did it that moment change the way you saw things from and especially from a business point of view? Because now you're doing all kinds of things with it, right?
I mean, you have to remember 2011. It's not that long ago, but it's a long time ago, right? Yeah, so 2011. I mean, if I would be talking about electric cars, people would say, golf carts, and they're ugly and they're boxes, and you cannot drive more than 40 kilometers with an electric car. And so what I think was the largest game changer is that they started with the Tesla Roadster, and they actually showed that electric car can be cool, can be fast, and actually can drive 300 kilometers. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, Teslas have a range between 500 and 600 kilometers, which is a lot if you know that the average mileage that people do on a daily basis is only 50 to 60 kilometers a day. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, that was the game changer. It's a fun car. It had the comfort that I was used to of the German brands that I was driving, but it was completely electric. And what I really loved about electric cars is the silence. When you drive an electric car, there is no noise whatsoever. So you really are relaxed in the car.
It's a kind of land glider. So I was in a glider and I had that feeling. And I also was in an electric car. So basically you are like...
it's a very good comparison. The only thing you hear is the wind, like in the gliders. And that's the same thing in the electric cars. You just hear the wind. You don't have the micro vibrations of engines that are going off. It's just a electric engine, the size of a big watermelon. That's it. And that's what powers the car.
So you talk about it like it is a passion. It should be a passion, I think, as well. When you are the founder or the chairperson of the Tesla Club in Belgium, is it also a part of your business model, EV, or?
Well, I because of JCI, I got introduced to a management association where I also became a president. I grew that association. And I saw the potential in the electric cars. I mean, at the time, Teslas were about 100,000 euros. So there was an expensive car. Yeah. So this was a car that would be bought by CEOs, company owners, entrepreneurs. And I thought, you know what, let me create a small club of electric drivers. And let's meet up for a dinner or some drinks, and let's drive or talk about driving to the south of France and how we're going to charge and what we can do with these electric cars. So what started as an idea of bringing a small group of people, of 100 people together, grew really fast. I mean, after 1 month, we had 30 members. After 3 months, we had over 100 members. Then we started getting sponsors who were financing the events. We actually got in contact with Tesla themselves, who also started supporting us in the events that we were organizing, because we were organizing a lot of test drives. And then a year later, we were at 600 members, which was quite a large organization for just doing this as a hobby. And now today, 2021, we are 7,850 members.
Wow.
We are the largest Tesla club in the world after Norway. And yeah, it's still a hobby, but it's a full-time
Full-time hobby.
Yes.
Yeah. There is, I'm going to ask you a question, but I understand that is a very difficult one. Because I give you a little bit of context. There was, back in the 1910, there was some forecasts about how cars would be in the 60s, so 50 years from that. And there was one that was very funny, that was that cars wouldn't go beyond 90 kilometers per hour, not because there was no technology for that, but because the human eye would be would have a difficulty in processing all the information over 90 kilometers per hour. So people would crash at 100 kilometers per hour because they wouldn't be able to process that information. So
yeah, actually, I mean, just to pick on that, Filipe, it's not so crazy actually, because still there are a lot of car accidents, and we're very happy that cars like Tesla and all new cars coming out have a lot of autopilot functions and driver assistant functions. But a lot of accidents happen, and this is in 98% of the time. 98% of the time, this is because of human error. This is because you look away for a few seconds, and unfortunately, usually it's because people are watching their smartphones way too much while driving, which is really dangerous. They're looking away for a few seconds, they look up, and suddenly there is a truck in front of them, or a kid just crossed the street, and accidents happen. So, I mean, the speed of our minds has also evolved because the speed of information and communication is so much faster than in the 1940s and the 1960s. I mean, when we were young and we wanted to order something, we would have to send a letter, and then we put it in an envelope. We mail the envelope, and then we would get a response back in 10 to 15 days. Then we got the fax, and we put the letter on the fax, and the fax would arrive, and then within 48 hours we'd get a response of whatever we ordered. And then we got email, and what happened suddenly is you send out an email, and if you're not responding to that email within 10 minutes, you're getting a message or a WhatsApp for, did you read my email, or somebody's calling you. So the speed of our minds has really moved up. But yeah, I can imagine that people were afraid that above 90 kilometers an hour, people would not be able to respond, and which actually is kind of the case. That's why we need all these driver assistant tools.
So what do you think, because you are in the business of creating the future also, so it's very important to get your input. So let's imagine that we jump to 2071, so the same 50 years. How you see, is Tesla flying, but not from a rocket, like with the dummy astronaut?
Okay, so a few things are going to happen. First of all, flying cars are not the future. I mean, if you look at science fiction, we all dream of this, but if you want to fly, it's going to be interstellar. So flying cars, that's not going to happen because it just doesn't make sense. All right. What we are going to do is we're going to live in a world that's going to be more 3D. Today, we are working in offices which are 3D, which are skyscrapers and tall buildings. So you have a lot of people in the 3D world that during the peak hours, morning, lunch, and evening, they come to a 2D world, where everybody is driving around on the same 2D axis.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to go to 3D under the ground. That means that we're going to be a lot of tunnels, and we're going to be transporting ourselves through different layers of tunnels. You can go really deep with tunnels, so we'll not have any traffic. That's part one. Second part, future is going to be electric on mobility. That's for sure. It's not going to be hydrogen, and I can get into that.
Yeah, that is a follow-up question. I'll get into
hydrogen later. So it's going to be electric. It's going to be autonomous. So you will not have cars that you will actually have a driving steer anymore. It's going to be a vehicle where you're going to use your app. It's going to appear wherever you are asking it or where your mobile phone is. You're going to get into that vehicle and it's going to drive you to wherever you have to be. If during that route, there are other people that need to get to that same location, the vehicle will stop and will load and unload some passengers, just the way Uber works today, but then without a driver.
So it will be like a kind of pod. Basically,
it's going to be a pod. It's also going to be connected. So the traffic lights are going to disappear because all the cars are going to be connected with each other. So we can cross crossings at high speed without crashing into each other because we are communicating different parts of vehicles with each other on location, direction, and intention.
Byron, sorry to interrupt. You know, that reminds me when there was a JCI conference in New Delhi, and I was there with a friend from Portugal, and we decided to say to the tuk-tuk driver, we give you 100 rupees more for emotion. So he would enter the roundabouts and you just got the same image. But this time there is no 100 rupees to give to anybody. So good. Continue, please.
Well, I don't know about the 100 rupees because yes, I mean, I've worked for about a year also in Mumbai. And
so you know what I'm saying.
Oh, I know what I mean. In a 4-lane road, you have 6 vehicles next to each other, inches from each other, centimeters from each other, but not touching each other because they are sensory acute of what's in their surroundings. And about 100 rupees, I do believe that you're going to have different levels or tiers of service. Like you have a different Netflix, you've got Netflix HD, then you've got Ultra HD, and etc. So if this service is going to cost you, I don't know, it's probably going to cost you about 50 euros a month to get driven everywhere and be dropped off everywhere. But if you pay 100, then the vehicle will not drive 120 kilometers an hour, but will drive 200 kilometers an hour. So you will get faster to your destination.
So it's like internet speed.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, I can imagine that people are going to be willing to pay for premium services. And speed is going to be one of the premium services. You're maybe going to pay, instead of 50 euros, you're going to pay 120 euros because you don't want to go or share that vehicle with other people who are going the same direction. And so you pay a premium and then you have the car or the vehicle privately to you.
Hey, Byron, when I hear you saying these things, one thing, it sounds a little bit like Star Trek. On the other thing, or Star Trek in the... But you
He's from aerospace, so Star Trek is
but on the other hand,
normal.
what we're already seeing is that, for instance, Elon Musk with SpaceX, I believe, has more satellites in the air than all satellites combined, and they are creating some kind of interstellar Wi-Fi, or not interstellar, but stellar Wi-Fi for areas where we do not live, or not a lot of congestion of people. But what kind of, so when we look at people, when we look at talents and competences, what kind of talents and competences are really necessary for the upcoming years for the new leaders, also within JCI, but for new leaders in business world or in our communities, to be able to work on that, but also understand that? And what is your vision on that?
Knowledge workers, those are the ones who are still going to have jobs. Everything that is repetitive and simple will be replaced by robots, because it just doesn't make sense to have people doing that. That means that people are going to be working on interesting things, very interesting things.
Like accounting.
Sorry?
Like accounting.
Yeah, I mean, even
no, that actually can be.
But let's say accounting. I mean, accounting can be 100% replaced by AI.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was joking because they are knowledge workers for now, but they will be replaced.
No, the knowledge worker is not the accountant who is just taking detection. Is the one who avoids that you don't pay too much taxes or you only pay what you need to pay. That's difficult
to put a robot doing.
So I think knowledge workers, yes, this is going to be very important, but also people who can add the human touch to whatever we're doing. I mean, AI can probably also design a car that looks interesting, but I think we still need artistic people to design something. So there is a human touch to a design. So for artists and designers, there is a very nice future. Everything in software, huge future. Taxi drivers, unfortunately, I know they're fighting against Uber and stuff, but I don't know how many people you know that still put hoofs on horses. Not so many people doing this. And if you would have asked them in 1910, 1913, when the first cars started coming to market, the horse people said, no, it's never going to go away. People are going to stay on horses. It's a hobby now. It's not a transportation.
Yeah, so craftsmanship is really going to change, and more like how to create all this AI and computerized machines and those kind of things with humans. So how to create engagement, really the human factors. That's okay.
It's going to be interesting times because don't forget, we are going to go through a transition. What our students are learning today at school, those skills, I'm very sorry, but I think they will only be able to use about 10% of those skills. I think the important skill is going to be to learn to do critical thinking, to think out of the box. So don't look at something that already exists and try to improve that. But let's say, I mean, what was the cool thing about the Tesla Model S is all the other car manufacturers, they build a car first, and then they went looking for where can I put some batteries, and there wasn't enough space. So what did Elon and his team did? They said, okay, we need batteries, so let's make a platform. And this platform, like a mobile phone, for example, has got 7,800 laptop batteries. We put 4 wheels on it, a powertrain and a steering wheel. And this skateboard, as they call it, this can drive. And then we only have to put on top just the cabin where people can sit in, or maybe it's not a cabin, maybe it's transportation, maybe it's to put in luggage or whatever, as soon as you got that skateboard. So starting from a blanco piece of paper, and people who have those skills, very valuable.
Yeah. It's something that is very important to think about these skills, and because I think there is and I'm a professor in several universities, there is a big focus in formal education. You need to put content in your head instead of, and I love that part of the critical thinking, because I think if you don't have it nowadays, you will not survive as a professional. You will be always second-rated professional because you will be the one that does a kind of knowledge screw. So I do always the same thing, and the others that have the critical thinking and that have this out-of-the-box mindset are like the wizards. They come and say, do like this, and suddenly, wow, genius. But it's not a question of genius, it's a question of challenging yourself all the time. And I want to challenge you because you said the hydrogen, that you are not into that. And for me, it's and I will tell you from where I come from. I don't have a hydrogen. I have a diesel car. I'm sorry. Scandalous. But from what I heard, hydrogen, let's say for the customer experience, you go to the pump and you put hydrogen in the same time that you put gasoline. In terms of autonomy, it's more or less the same as diesel.
I understand where you're getting at.
And also in terms of the transportation, there is the possibility of creating hydrogen in the gas stations directly, so there is no electricity being transported or gasoline or whatever. Why you say so? I'm very curious.
Okay, you're still thinking as a diesel driver. That's the reason. Okay, but I'll explain what I mean. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm a dinosaur.
Your car is using dinosaur blood.
Fuel is for me. You see, I'm a dinosaur.
So here's what's interesting, right? We know a very sustainable way to create electricity today, right? I mean, you have solar, there is biogas, there is wind energy. There's a lot of ways to create electricity in a very simple way. Step one is, so if you have 100% electricity and you put this electricity in a battery and you convert this electricity into movement, 88% of that electricity will be converted into movement. So your loss is only 22%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is only did I
12.
say that correct?
12%.
12%, right? So 88% is actually movement. You only lose 12%. If you have hydrogen, and you have 100% hydrogen, or you have 100% energy, you have to convert it into hydrogen, and the hydrogen you have to convert back into electricity because that's what makes the car move. You only have 22% movement. So from 100%, you only have 22% left. So if I can choose to have 88%, that's actually going to move the car forward, or only 12%, it just doesn't make sense to use hydrogen. That's one. Second is I've not been to a gas station since 2013, since I drive electric. Because I park my car in front of the house, I connect my car to the electricity net, and in the morning, my car is full. It actually, if I drive to the south of France, it only takes me 22 minutes to charge it for 80%. And this 22 minutes is exactly the time I need to go to the toilet, wash my hands, drink the Coca-Cola, and continue. So in reality,
you have that. You have the stop.
I did measure that because I wanted to know if that.
You are an engineer.
So, but interesting is that you don't lose time at the pump because you don't go to the pump. The car is always full. Even if I wouldn't charge the car at home, if I would just drive to a customer site, many customer sites today, they have charging stations. I just plug in during my conversation, or when I go to a restaurant, I plug in while I'm on the restaurant, and the car is always full. And reality is, I mean, I have about 500 kilometers range. So I only charge about once a week. I don't even charge every day anymore.
It's also very healthy, Byron. You don't buy Twix and Mars bars anymore at the gas station, because that's the thing I always did or do. Or no, sorry, I don't do it anymore. sorry, wrong connection.
No, but it's true. I mean, when I drive to the south of France, I do stop, and that's usually because I need to go to the toilet.
I break, yeah.
But it's also healthy to take a break while you're driving. So it's about every 3.5 hours. I stop about 22 minutes, and it's fine, and then I can just continue. So
not a minute less, not a minute more. 22.
So hydrogen will not be completely lost. I think it might be used to store energy. It might be used on very large ships, although I see that the Norwegians are actually going also for battery-powered ships. I think there will be some use cases for hydrogen, but for normal cars, normal vehicles, personal transport, this 100% going to be electric.
Can I ask you a totally off topic, like we didn't talk about it anymore, or not yet, but question. We share a history, not you guys share a history directly also in JCI, but JCI is our history together. And I'm really curious about what did you learn in all those years within JCI, what you saw, and what did you learn, and how did you put it into your business? Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So every day I'm still amazed of the tools and techniques that I'm using today. They actually come from what I learned at JCI. It's amazing. If I just look at the level of networking, I have never worked so much as networked so much as I did within JCI, and JCI teaches you to become a master. Also internationally, I mean, I had the opportunity to give trainings in St. Petersburg in Russia, to Beirut in Lebanon, the European Academy in Sweden. this international aspect of all these different cultures. And let's go back to the start of JCI and why JCI was started. The fact that you get to learn to work and appreciate all these different cultures is how we can really work with different cultures in business. I mean, there is so much diversity in my own company that I only have 2 people working from Belgium, and everybody else is from all different continents even. And we do appreciate each other's values and strengths. So yeah, that's for sure. But also the trainings are amazing. I think if I look at all the trainings I've followed throughout my life, still JCI is the top. And this is really priceless value that you get for peanuts. I mean, it's so cheap to get really well trained. And I can only recommend everybody within JCI to not only learn from trainers, but become a trainer and teach other people, because teaching other people, it's such a valuable skill. Today, when you're a leader, what you're doing is you're coaching and teaching other people, and you really learn that within JCI.
Byron, our time is up. This was an absolutely amazing conversation. We could be here the whole time, but we have this rule to keep it around 30 minutes, and we gave you an extra one because you are an engineer, so it's like it was 31, not 30. So you could go like 90% on the battery of a Tesla, I believe, because 80% for 22, it will be like 90 for 31. So I bet it's charging just now. So it's on that. Byron, once again, thank you very much for being here with us. It was amazing, and it was great that you had the time to share with us your knowledge, your experience, and also what Robbert was asking you, what JCI gave to you, and I fully agree, because I've been doing training, and it's the thing that really creates the possibility of dealing with people from around the world and understanding and have like a kind of intuition of how to deal with people wherever they are. So Byron, thank you very much. And this was another Let's Talk Business with Byron and my good friend Robbert, that we are doing this every month inside the framework of the JCI senators in Europe. So thank you very much, and see you next time.